There's a moment, a very specific, unmistakable moment, when a woman finally realizes she lost a stoic man. And it never happens when she's loud, confident, or walking away with her head high. Nope. It happens later, quietly, unexpectedly, when life forces her to sit with a truth she spent months trying to outrun. It's the moment when she looks back and realizes you weren't just another guy. You were the calm she didn't know she needed, the strength she didn't respect, and the stability she didn't understand until it was gone. And what hits her the hardest isn't that you left, it's that you didn't fall apart when you did. It's when she opens her phone expecting your name, and it's not there. It's when she checks your social media and sees no sadness, no cryptic posts, no desperation, only discipline, growth, and silence. The kind of silence that says, I moved forward and I didn't look back. And so I want to ask you something powerful right now. What if the exact moment she regrets losing you isn't when you leave her life, but when she realizes she never left yours in the same way? Because that's when it hits. That's when the regret cuts deepest. Before we go on, drop a phrase in the comments to anchor this message into your identity. Write, "My silence is my power." And if you're new here, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on notifications to become a Stoic soldier. Because here, we turn heartbreak into strength, confusion into clarity, and men into unshakable forces of nature. Now, let's break down the psychology behind the moment her regret truly begins. The moment a Stoic man walks away, something subtle but profound happens. Your absence starts working harder than your presence ever had to. At first, she tells herself she's fine. She distracts herself. She convinces herself she made the right choice. She posts like she's unbothered. She fills her time with noise, but silence always comes. And silence is where your shadow returns. Because unlike the emotional men she's been with, the ones who beg, chase, plead, or crumble, you disappear with a calm certainty that unnerves her. You don't argue. You don't compete. You don't try to convince her of your worth. You simply step back. And when a Stoic man steps back, he steps back completely. That's when she starts to feel it, the weight of a presence that's no longer there. The steady good morning texts stop. The emotional reassurance she took for granted is gone. The calming energy you brought to her anxious mind suddenly vanishes. And in that emptiness, she realizes something she never thought she would. Your absence is louder than other men's presence. It's in the quiet moments, late at night, in the shower, alone on a walk, that she feels the first sting of regret. Not because she misses the routine, but because she misses the man whose peace stabilized her storms. She starts replaying conversations. She wonders why you haven't reached out. She checks your profile more than she admits. She waits for a message she knows likely isn't coming, and the moment she realizes you can live without her, that's when she begins to question whether she can live without you. Your absence becomes a mirror, showing her exactly what she lost, and showing her something even more painful. You never needed her as much as she thought. That's when regret takes root. This is where the regret sharpens, the moment she starts comparing every man after you to the standard you silently set. At first, she might believe there's someone better, someone more exciting, someone who will make her feel something new. But as she meets other men, reality humbles her. She starts noticing things she ignored before. The new men talk too much, they try too hard, they react emotionally, they get jealous quickly, they lack discipline, they chase validation, they fold under pressure, they don't communicate with clarity or intention, they don't carry themselves with quiet confidence. And suddenly, she feels the contrast. They make noise, but they don't bring peace. What she once took for granted in you now stands out as rare. Your emotional control, your patience, your ability to listen without judging, your way of grounding a situation without raising your voice, your calm presence that made her feel safe, even when she didn't understand why. This is when the comparisons begin, silently at first, then relentlessly. She notices the new guy's inconsistency and remembers your reliability. She sees his impulsiveness and remembers your discipline. She feels his insecurity and remembers your strength. She experiences his emotional chaos and remembers your steady center. And here's the part that really hits her. She realizes that what she thought was boring was actually stability, and what she thought was predictable was actually emotional safety. Every man she meets pushes her mind back to you. Every argument, every disappointment, every broken expectation reminds her of the man who didn't crumble, didn't shout, didn't lose himself. She begins to understand that your calm wasn't a lack of passion, it was mastery. And when that realization lands, regret stops being a whisper and becomes a weight, because now she knows something she didn't have the maturity to see before. Men like you don't come around twice. This is the moment that cuts the deepest, when she realizes your self-respect never wavered, and hers did. Most men, when a woman pulls away, fall into the same pattern, chasing, pleading, negotiating their worth, abandoning their standards just to get a taste of the connection they lost. But you didn't. You didn't fold. You didn't beg for clarity. You didn't collapse into emotional desperation. You didn't throw away your dignity to keep someone who wasn't choosing you. Instead, you stood firm. You chose yourself. You honored your boundaries. You accepted her decision and kept walking. And that silence, your calm, disciplined silence, becomes the sharpest contrast to the emotional spirals she's used to seeing. Because deep down, she expected you to break. She expected you to panic. She expected you to run after her to validate her sense of importance, but you did the opposite. You moved with quiet strength, and that strength revealed a truth she wasn't ready for. You respected yourself more than you desired her. And this is where regret blooms inside her. Not because you punished her, but because you didn't. Not because you argued, but because you didn't engage. Not because you tried to win her back, but because you didn't need to. Your self-respect forces her to confront the uncomfortable fact that she acted impulsively, emotionally, or immaturely, while you responded with discipline. She sees that she lost her composure while you kept yours. She sees that she reacted while you remained grounded. She sees that she let emotions dictate her choices while you stayed aligned with your principles. And here's the part that lingers in her mind, long after everything ends. A man who refuses to abandon himself becomes unforgettable. Your self-respect outshines her regret. Your discipline exposes her instability. And the more she reflects, the more she realizes that she lost a man who moved with intention, while she moved with impulse. That difference becomes the seed of the deepest regret she'll ever feel. There is a moment that hits her with a force she never expected. The moment she sees that your life didn't fall apart without her. It got better. This is where regret shifts from a quiet whisper to a heavy punch of reality. Because she thought you would pause. She thought you would wait. She thought you would drown in memories, in longing, in what-ifs. But instead you moved forward with purpose. You upgraded your routines. You became sharper, stronger, more focused. Your mind got clearer. Your habits got cleaner. Your energy got calmer. You didn't use the breakup as an excuse to fall apart. You used it as fuel to rise. And while she scrolls through your feed or hears about you from others, she sees something she never imagined. You didn't need her to become the man she always hoped you'd be. You became that man for yourself. This realization creates a quiet storm inside her. It shatters the narrative she built in her mind because she expected you to struggle, to miss her, to reach out when the loneliness hit, but instead you embraced the silence. You filled the emptiness with discipline. You built a life where your value wasn't dependent on her presence, and that is when her regret begins to ache. Because nothing stings more than seeing a man thrive after you doubted him. Nothing destabilizes her illusions more than witnessing your strength grow in the space where she expected weakness. And now, every picture of you smiling, every achievement you post, every sign of your growth becomes a reminder. She didn't break you, she revealed you. She showed you what needed to be rebuilt, and you rebuilt it stronger. That kind of transformation doesn't just haunt her, it humbles her. And that's when regret becomes impossible to ignore. This is the moment regret sharpens into something she can no longer ignore, when she tries to replace you, and every attempt falls painfully short. At first, she might convince herself there are better options out there. She might go looking for a distraction, a rebound, someone who can replicate the emotional stability you brought effortlessly. But the more she tries, the more she discovers something she never expected. You weren't easy to replace because you weren't just a man. Your presence was an experience. She quickly learns that the men she meets after you don't have your discipline. They don't have your calm. They don't know how to listen without reacting. They don't know how to communicate without chaos. They don't carry themselves with a sense of internal command. Instead of grounding her, they drain her. Instead of offering peace, they magnify her anxiety. Instead of being a place of rest, they become a source of confusion. And here's where the truth hits her hardest. The things she assumed any man could provide were the things only you consistently delivered. She looks for your emotional maturity in other men and finds insecurity. She looks for your steadiness and finds volatility. She looks for your strength and finds ego. She looks for your patience and finds impulsiveness. Comparison becomes her new reality, silent, constant, uncomfortable. And every disappointment reminds her of the man who once made love feel simple, not stressful, the man who respected her without needing to control her, the man who stayed calm when most men would have exploded, the man whose silence carried more reassurance than other men's promises. She starts to realize she didn't just lose someone, she lost the rare combination of emotional discipline, self-respect, and stability that most men don't have. And when she recognizes that truth, when she feels it in her body more than she thinks it in her mind, her regret becomes a weight she can't outrun because you weren't replaced. You were remembered. There comes a moment, sharp, humbling, undeniable, when the fantasy she built in her mind finally collapses. At first, she believed there were better options waiting for her. She believed she'd find a man who was more exciting, more thrilling, more emotionally stimulating. She believed the grass was greener, that someone out there would offer the perfect blend of chaos and charm she was addicted to. But eventually, reality steps in. And reality is unforgiving. One by one, the illusions fall apart. The better options turn out to be inconsistent. The exciting men turn out to be unstable. The ones who seem confident turn out to be insecure beneath the surface. The ones who love-bomb her early fade just as quickly. The fantasy becomes a series of disappointments, unmet expectations, and emotional crashes that leave her feeling drained instead of desired. And that's when she starts to understand something she didn't have the maturity to see before. Men like you are not easily found, because men like you are not common. She realizes that the emotional thrill she chased didn't lead to depth. The unpredictability she mistook for chemistry didn't lead to connection. The excitement she thought she needed didn't lead to security. And the truth hits her with a heaviness she can't ignore. She left stability to pursue illusions, and the illusions betrayed her. Each disappointment brings her mind back to you, not because she wants to, but because she can't help it. She remembers how peaceful it felt to stand beside you, how safe she felt without needing to question your intentions, how consistent you were without demanding praise, how grounded your presence was even in silence. And in that contrast, regret doesn't just appear, it intensifies, because the moment her illusions fall apart is the moment she realizes she didn't walk away from something average. She walked away from something rare, something solid, something she may never find again. And that realization doesn't just sting, it haunts. There is a moment of brutal clarity that hits her harder than anything else. The moment she realizes your silence wasn't a reaction, it was a revelation. When you didn't chase her, when you didn't beg, when you didn't attempt to reason or negotiate or prove your worth, it forced her to confront something she had been avoiding. You were never the one who needed fixing. She was. Your silence exposes every mistake she made because it shows her something she didn't expect. You had the emotional strength to let her go, even if it hurt. She scrolls past your name, wondering why you haven't reached out. She replays the moment things ended, looking for signs of weakness in you, and finds none. She thought your silence meant indifference, but over time she realizes it meant discipline, restraint, self-respect. And this is when the regret begins to sharpen into something deep and personal, because your silence doesn't accuse her, it allows her own conscience to do the talking. She starts seeing the truth she was too prideful or too hurt to acknowledge. She acted impulsively, emotionally, or immaturely while you acted with composure. She handled the ending poorly while you handled it with dignity. You didn't lash out. You didn't try to win. You didn't try to prove anything. You simply stood firm in who you are. And that unwavering calm becomes a mirror reflecting everything she didn't want to see. Your silence tells her you wouldn't degrade yourself to keep her. Your silence shows her you valued your peace over her chaos. Your silence reveals that she lost a man who had mastered something she hasn't even begun to understand, emotional sovereignty. And when she realizes all of this, that's when the regret becomes real. Not because you punished her, but because you refused to punish yourself by holding on to someone who let go. There is a moment, quiet, private, and devastating, when everything finally clicks for her. It doesn't happen in public. It doesn't happen during an argument. It doesn't happen while she's laughing with friends or scrolling through distractions. It happens when she's alone, when the noise fades, when she finally stops running from herself. That's when she understands exactly what she lost. Not a man who was desperate, not a man who depended on her, not a man who needed validation or begged for attention. She realizes she lost a man who was her calm in a chaotic world, a man whose presence softened her anxiety, a man whose consistency made her feel safe, a man whose silence wasn't emptiness, it was wisdom. A man who didn't just care, but cared with depth, with patience, with intention. And she remembers how you listened without judgment, how you never competed with her emotions, how you held yourself with a discipline most men lack. She remembers the peace she felt in moments she never appreciated. And the more she reflects, the more it hits her. She didn't leave a man. She left a sanctuary. This realization doesn't come all at once. It comes in waves. A song reminds her of your steadiness. A stressful day reminds her of your calm. A failed connection reminds her of your emotional maturity. A lonely night reminds her of your presence. And the regret moves from her mind into her heart because she can't escape the truth anymore. She lost the version of love she wasn't ready for. She begins to see that you weren't trying to control her, you were trying to protect her peace. She sees that you didn't distance yourself to punish her, you simply refused to abandon your standards. She sees that you weren't cold, you were disciplined. And that discipline is what she lacked, The weight of this realization sits on her chest, and for the first time, she understands that she didn't walk away from someone average. She walked away from the rarest man she had ever known, and that is the exact moment regret becomes permanent, because now she sees who you truly were, and who she wasn't ready to be. At the end of it all, the truth settles in like a quiet dawn after a long storm. A stoic man is only understood fully once he's gone. Your presence is calm, steady, grounded. So grounded, in fact, that she never realized how rare it was until she felt the emptiness left behind. And now, as she sits with the weight of her choices, she finally understands what she lost. A man who didn't break when she pushed him, a man who didn't chase when she walked away, a man who chose peace over chaos, purpose over ego, discipline over emotion. But here's the stoic truth you must carry with you moving forward. Her regret is not your responsibility. Your growth is. You don't exist to validate her choices, to ease her guilt, or to soothe her conscience. You exist to walk your path with clarity, strength, and self-respect. Your story doesn't end with her regret. Your story begins with your resilience. A stoic man evolves regardless of who stays or leaves, and while she may finally see your value, you have already moved on to become the strongest version of yourself. So as we close this out, remember this: you never lose by choosing self-respect. You only lose by abandoning it. If this message resonated with you, if it brought clarity, confidence, or closure into your life, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on notifications to become a stoic soldier. You are part of a tribe of men who rise through silence, rebuild through discipline, and lead themselves through every storm. And before you go, leave a final phrase in the comments to anchor this truth into your identity. I rise without regret. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your strength, and thank you for choosing the stoic path.